Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Market Today. You are on Business Today television. It's a Friday morning, a very good end to the week that has seen the Nifty rise 1.8% and up 4 out of the past 5 days. Very strong momentum coming into the auto and the IT space, thanks to the US 10-year yield that's dipped substantially, as also the dollar index. Will these good times and the Goldilocks moment for Indian equities continue for the rest of November? Just wait for a moment, but we'll first see the headlines. Indian stocks are likely to consolidate on Friday ahead of the weekend as traders digest the 1.8% uptick on the Nifty so far this week. Autos and techs are leading the rally as investors buy into hope as well as inexpensive valuations relative to mid-caps. The broader rally on Dalal Street gets wider acceptance as foreign investors punch in net buys for the second session on US bond yields and the dollar index waning, making emerging markets more attractive than US stocks. Good morning once again to you all, and a very warm welcome on Market Today at Business Today television. We'll start as usual with the chart of the Nifty that you see on a daily basis. Yesterday was the weekly expiry of the Nifty. You saw the index closing 90 points higher at about 19,675. This is a 1 month high for the Nifty as far as the November expiry is concerned. You saw these same levels at 16th, 7th of October. But what is interesting is that because it was the weekly expiry, the 2:45 p.m. weekly moment came into the picture. The high for the index yesterday was somewhere like 875. Which is 19,875 that I refer to. After that, there was a bit of basket selling that ensured that the Nifty ended substantially lower from the day's high. Nevertheless, closing with very smart gains. It was autos, it was techs, it was some banks that led the rally. But overall, the sentiment and the tone and the texture of the market are now looking for the better. We should see a record high fairly soon, at least on the Nifty. Let's get into the nitty-gritties of the index, and you'll see that the valuations at the moment within the Nifty universe are relatively cheaper than mid-caps. It is for this reason that you see smart buying emerging, at least on stocks like Bajaj Finance, which for very obvious reasons on the RBI action are trading a bit lower than their all-time highs. Apart from that, a fresh weekly expiry has taken root on the Nifty today, and as far as Friday is concerned, you'll see some trades which will consolidate the Nifty in a sideways to narrow to an upward channel. But what is really interesting is the fact that over the last 5 trading sessions, the index has gained 1.8%, and this rally is likely to be absorbed by the market on Friday ahead of the weekend, and of course ahead of the mega clash of two cricketing titans in Ahmedabad, which is India and of course Australia. They beat South Africa yesterday to enter into the finals, where they will meet a team which has won 10 out of its 10 matches, that is being India. So all that energy, all that enthusiasm will be saved for Sunday, and you'll see some sideways to consolidating trend on the Nifty. What is really good over the last 2 or 3 trading sessions is because of the weakness in the US market of the US 10-year bond yield as well as the dollar index, you see the foreign net buying emerge for the second day in a row, and it was more than visible on Bajaj Finance yesterday because of the RBI action that came in on regulatorily stopping Bajaj Finance from offering loans on 2 of their platforms. The stock had fallen sharply, but an intraday recovery ending Bajaj Finance at a pretty decent level. As far as the option charts are concerned, fresh support on the Nifty is now emerging somewhere between 19,700, 19,750, 19,675, and any dip towards that is an opportunity to get back into the index on the long side. The resistance, as always, is somewhere like 19,900, 19,850. These are levels of 1 month highs, and the Nifty will take some momentum to break them on the long side. As far as charts are concerned, within the Nifty, it's the tech space which is offering the strongest momentum for long side traders, and of course it's HCL Tech, it's TCS, it's Infosys. They were beaten down very sharply, and because of the weakness of the US 10-year bond yield, they have now come up very strongly as far as charts are concerned. Decrease in open interest, increase in price, coupled with a rise in deliveries for all three stocks, is prompting traders to go on the long side when it comes to these three tech stocks. Of course, auto is on a roll, therefore you see Eicher Motors, you see Hero Motors, M&M, Tata Motors, Maruti, all of them showing very, very strong enthusiasm on the long side. This is as far as the Nifty is concerned. Let's pay a little bit more attention on the Bank Nifty. You will see the Bank Nifty chart coming in front of you. The index ended flat, almost down 40 points at 44,161. And that the reason being that all index heavyweights, whether it's HDFC Bank, ICICI, Axis, State Bank of India, Kotak, all of them are trading in a sideways band. So no fresh move is likely to emerge on the Nifty Bank as far as today's trade is concerned. 44,500 is a resistance that been waiting for it to be overcome, and you have a very, very strong support at 43,800 as far as the Nifty Bank is concerned. Within the bank, two charts are showing excellent traction on the long side. Of course, this is all based on data, the one that I mentioned on Nifty as well as Bank Nifty. It's PNB and AU Bank that have the strongest shows when it comes to technical charts. It's already 8:55. Our first guest is with us. Mr. Chakri Lokpriya joins us. He's the top man at TCG Capital, the CIO and managing director at TCG Asset Management Company. Mr. Lokpriya, welcome once again. Thank you for spending your time with us for today. It's the weekend ahead of the mega clash between Australia and India at Ahmedabad. Firstly, will you be meeting there, or how does the market sentiment look?
Good morning, and please call me Chakri. Yes, clearly looking forward to the mega match on Sunday, and I hope it's 11 out of 11 as of Sunday evening, and India wins. And I think the market is well poised, and the market is looking like the Indian cricket team, very strong in its batting lineup and bowling lineup. And therefore, I think there are so many sectors which are doing well, which is good news, and therefore which is kindly going to lead to an earnings upgrade as we go into next year.
हाँ बोलिए, इनकी आवाज़। Mr. Lokpriya, जी. Mr. Lokpriya, that's the view that you have on sentiment. We've seen a very sharp uptick coming on tech stocks, primarily because the US 10-year bond yield has cooled. You have great linkages to overseas markets, good friends trading there on the Indian diaspora as well as Indian stocks. What is the theme that is emerging according to you in the Western Hemisphere when they look at India through the investing lens?
Yeah, I think there are 2 points. One is I think the rupee weakness is continuing to weigh on the FI flows, and because the net returns that are looked at by overseas investors are dollar returns, and so that is kind of holding back some of the FI flows, and is likely to be the case for the next coming few months until the rupees shows any kind of a strength, which will probably be on once the interest rates kind of peak out in the US and they start cutting rates. I think that until then, we are unlikely to see any strong flows. Second, as far as IT is concerned, they have underperformed last year, underperformed this year, and the valuations are pretty much in range, reflecting their current growth rates in terms of the order books are very strong, but the conversion to revenue has been kind of delayed. So that's kind of reflected in the multiples, and therefore I think they will kind of still be market underperformers over the medium term until we reach clarity of whether the US interest rates have peaked or not, which is probably a January timeframe.
Right. Mr. Lokpriya, two major events have gone through the system, which is one, the festivities have now ended with Diwali drawing to a close, as also the second quarter earnings are now more or less in the bag. Given the fact that markets will continue to trade forward with the enthusiasm, how is TCG AMC now pivoting given the background we have seen in terms of stock moves and the guidance that has come in on many of stocks? How are you now positioning the overall portfolio for your clients?
That's a good question, because this has been a very volatile year with all kinds of geopolitical events, starting off with the Ukraine war and then after the Israel-Gaza conflict, as a result of which oil has moved up and down and impacted inflation, supply chains. And therefore, I think if you look at India, the portfolios that we have constructed, we're looking at it as three baskets. One is consumption, which is made up of autos, any kind of consumer, basically autos, real estate, discretionary. On the second basket would be industrials, and the third is global, which is IT, chemicals, pharma. Now, the global has been weak, the domestic industrials has been strong, and the consumer pockets are strong. So I think that is the way we are constructing our portfolios. We're still kind of staying away from the export international names and more on the domestic names.
Right. The other thing I wanted to ask Mr. Lokpriya was the fact that foreigners have turned net buyers. So would you see interest coming back into their favorites, which is the banking space, HDFC Bank in particular, Bajaj Finance? We saw a very sharp rally despite the moves from the Reserve Bank of India. Will these stocks likely make a comeback now?
I think, as you correctly pointed out, the Reserve Bank move is likely to be a dampener for a little bit because of the risk weights that have gone up and are likely to go up and increasing the cost of capital. This will likely impact more those with unsecured credit lending, the likes of Kotak, and those who have credit card exposures, but not because, the home loans are not affected, education loans and the real estate is not impacted. So, which means it's only a very small pocket of banks, but all the Kotaks of the world, they all are likely to face some amount of pressure. And being a frontline bank, HDFC, while has merger integration issues, I think FIIs are kind of will start moving back, increasing their weight as they report the next HDFC Bank reports the next quarter. So until then, we're likely to see it kind of drift sideways.
Right. And this is the right time also to look at some pre-open action that is there in the market. The Nifty opens flat, 19,768 is what I see. Absolutely no movement at all. Let's look at the index heavyweight space and look at the top stock on the green side. That's TCS, 1.2% higher, 35.40. Remember, this is one of the stocks that I had mentioned in the pre-open chat on what to look at the long side. Let's look at the index heavyweight space. Okay. HDFC Bank flat, 1507. Infosys at 1438 is down 0.4%, perhaps providing an opportunity to get back at a lower level into this stock. How about Reliance? Let's look at Reliance, 2362, mildly in the green, doing nothing at all, which is the top loser. State Bank of India, 1.65%, down 575. I want to see what Bajaj Finance is doing. 1% lower, 7,300. So this is how the pre-open trade is within the Nifty space. Let's pay attention for a while on the F&O markets, which is the top gainer. It's persistent, 1.4%, 1.1% higher, 64.69. This is the IT space that's buzzing. LTTS 44.74, 1% higher. Auto is again getting back into momentum, 1588, 1.2% higher. Let's see how Lal Pathlab is performing, 1.84% higher, 2730. A very quick look at NSE 500, and then we'll add Brijesh Ail to the conversation. He's our technical guest for today. Among the top gainers, Brigade Enterprises 2.8% higher, 734.70. We have SGBN 1.6% higher, 76.40. Praj Industries 1.66% higher, 574. We'll pay attention to the pre-open trades in a while. The Nifty is down 36 initially, 19,725. Okay, let's go to Brijesh Ail. And Brijesh, good morning. He's the head of technicals and derivatives retail research at IDBI Capital Markets and Securities. Brijesh, how do you see the sentiment on the Nifty? A very warm welcome to you, and any one or two stocks that you could highlight which look good on the technicals.
Well, very good morning, sir. So I think the view is extremely positive. Yesterday, for the very first time, the Nifty almost scaled up to 19,880 level, and well, I think because of the weekly expiry, there was some slight pressure. It came below 19,800. But if you look at the derivatives data, there are a lot of call writing which is getting unwinded. So this makes me believe that we are going to see a very good upside. The confirmation is the 19,800 mark. As in when the new index closes about 19,800 mark, I think we are going to retest its all-time high level, which is 20,222 mark. So bias is extremely positive. Lower side 19,600, which is almost this 50-day moving average. That should act as a support. Right now, I don't have any view which will correct below 90 for the current momentum. That 50-day moving average will be broken. So bias is extremely positive. I think we should be looking for a buy trade. Specifically, there is one trade, sir, which is extremely positive. There's one Zydus Life, which is looking very good on chart. Previously the buying came, and in yesterday again the momentum was picked up. One should take this call at the current price with a stop loss of 618 for the target of 656. So that would be one trade, and one more is Polycap. So which is again given a very good range breakout. Volumes have picked up in the counter. So with the current price, one can take a long. Stop loss would be 5162 for the target of 5480. So that would be the two trade in the morning session, I think, which should work.
Fine. Let's look at Polycab. This is a very, very high beta stock. The all-time high on the counter has been 54.52, and this was struck on exactly a month ago, October 16th, after which a small correction came in, and the stock seems to be regaining its lost appetite for gains. 52.68 in front of me as of yesterday, and this is the highest since October 20th. Coming back to you, Mr. Lokpriya, given the strength that you are seeing in the auto space, two-wheeler stocks, which is Bajaj, Eicher, almost at fresh record highs, anything that catches your fancy which could be a part of the TCG portfolio in the days ahead, weeks ahead, or is already within your grasp and looks better?
Autos have had a very good festive season, and if you look back at the last couple of years versus where they are now, and also and so in that space we like TVS Motors, we like Bajaj Auto, and we also like M&M, and all of them because they have very strong EV portfolios as well. And as we go forward into the next few years, EV as a percentage of the overall portfolios is likely to increase, is already increasing in the case of all these companies. And therefore, we think, the volumes as the transition happens will also, these companies are well positioned to benefit.
Right. And before we begin the trade today, one thing I'd like to mention, which is of extreme importance, and extreme beneficial sentiment-wise as far as Indian markets is concerned is the very sharp drop in crude oil prices. Mr. Lokpriya, this comes to you. Crude oil WTI futures now at $73 a barrel, around the lowest that you've seen from July of 2023. So that makes it a 4-month low. This is definitely good news for Indian equities, don't you think so?
It is good news for Indian equities. Companies like Polycab that we're just talking about will clearly benefit because their input cost prices go down quite dramatically. Tire companies, Apollo Tires, all those type of companies also benefit. And in general, overall inflation for India, inflation itself has been trending down in India. And if this trade holds up, as in if oil continues to at least remain at the lower levels, it'll do a lot of things and further enhancing the GDP growth for India as we go into next year.
Right. Since you mentioned Apollo Tyres, let's get Brijesh into the conversation. A very, very sharp move, Brijesh, coming on tire companies across the spectrum. JK Tyres, Apollo Tyres, MRF, Balkrishna Industries, some of them in futures, some of them in cash. What, according to you, is the strongest play in this sector on the long side?
I think we should go with the Apollo tire. I think the momentum is still there in the Apollo tire. Somewhere 460 is the directional view for the Apollo tire. And after Apollo, I think Balkrishna Industries is something which is picking up the momentum. So Balkrishna should give a very good upside. 2750 should be the short-term target for the, it's another 100 points from the current level. So I think momentum should play in this both the counters. So I think technically it sounds quite positive. So if somebody wants to take a position, Apollo Tyre and Balkrishna should be the fresh continuation of the trend should be seen in this particular stock.
Okay. As the pre-open trades show to you, Apollo Tyres is opening at 430 rupees, down 0.5%. The Nifty itself has seen a 90-point gap down. 19,674 is where it is likely to start its innings. And remember, the first support on an intraday basis is 19,636. Since the market is in an upward momentum, given that we are moving into the weekend, trade is likely to be tepid. But let's check with Brijesh, which is a level on an intraday basis that he would like to enter the Nifty for a long trade on an intraday basis. Brijesh, over to you. What looks good as far as technical charts is concerned within the Nifty? What level would you step in?
I think, sir, it's worth taking a risk at this level because derivative data is quite strong positive. I think this should be a buying opportunity. On a safer side, 19,700 call option can be the bet which we should be taking right now.
Okay. As an aside, I'd just like to mark one very important point. Joining us later today on the corporate radar would be Mr. Anuj Kathuria. He's the president for the Indian operations for JK Tyre and Industries. A very, very strong set of earnings that had come in, and of course, a sector that both Mr. Lokpriya and Brijesh are talking positively about. Coming to you, Mr. Lokpriya, when you look at the pharma space, there has been a mild bit of disappointment when you look at the November's F&O expiry. Of course, you don't have such shorter time frames. Nevertheless, this is something that hasn't kept investors happy. Within your portfolio, what would be the top pharma picks that you continue to have bullish view on?
Pharmaceutical companies have been impacted on two sides. One, the domestic pharma, there has been a pricing issue, the government imposing pricing controls on various kinds of drugs. And the second, in terms of the volumes as far as the export pharmaceuticals are concerned. So against this backdrop, and have largely stayed away from pharma. Our exposure to healthcare is largely through healthcare companies like Apollo, which are more healthcare services companies, and less so with the pharmaceutical drug manufacturers.
Fair point. We have about 3 minutes, 2 minutes left for the market to begin its innings on Friday. Brijesh, a very quick comment from you on PNB. This is the strongest chart within the banking space, within the index. What do you make out of Punjab National Bank, one of the blowout performers that we've seen over the last 6 months? What are the charts telling you?
Eventually, on this Monday, the stock is already given a breakout. The low for that particular candle is 76. So anybody wants, I think one should take a long position in the market in the PNB. The 76 would be the stop loss, and somewhere close to 88, 86 to 88. That should be the trading bet for the PNB. PNB looks extremely positive on charts. With the stop loss of 76, I think one should go long in PNB.
Okay. One more important thing, Mr. Lokpriya, what the RBI has done yesterday is increased weights on unsecured loans by consumer lenders. Of course, this is something that prevents a potential blowout within the financial space. One, do you agree with it? Two, would that somehow lead to this dampening of enthusiasm that is there at least on PSU banks? And your view on NBFCs, sir?
I think two things. One is they have increased the weights on unsecured lending, so which means basically in terms of real estate or automobile or even those sectors or education loans, they are not impacted. So which only it says the unsecured credit card lending, which have banks which have a greater exposure, banks like Kotak, Axis, to an extent, even HDFC Bank. Those are the ones, and in the case of NBFCs, the housing NBFC companies will actually kind of benefit because the situation remains unchanged. It is only those like Bajaj Finance, which have a greater consumer portfolio, which are likely to be impacted. So I guess, one of the things that we've seen in the credit cycle is there's been a pickup in unsecured lending. And I guess just RBI is being very prudent about trying to protect the balance sheets because the ROAs of all these companies, banks have improved in the last 2 years. And I think RBI wants to protect the balance sheet. And that's probably the situation, which is good for the longer term. But medium term, in the very short term, in these kind of banks, we are likely to see some amount of pressure.
Right. And we have the first trades on this lovely Friday on Dalal Street. The Nifty is now opening 50 points lower, 19,718. There's a bit of a sell-off on the Bank Nifty initially, 400 points lower, 43,750 in front of you, down 0.9%. This is a bit worrisome. The Nifty IT index is in the green at 32,310, up 37 points. Let's shift focus. Remember, it was the IT stocks that showed the maximum momentum on the long side. Let's look at them. What is the top gainer? The top gainer in front of me is TCS, 3506, 0.2% higher. Now let's look at index heavyweights. Reliance, 2362, 0.1% higher. What is HDFC Bank doing? It's down 0.5% at 1503. How about Infosys, 0.3% lower, 14,360. The Nifty is now slipping further. At the moment, I see a price of 19,732. Let's look at stocks apart from the index heavyweights within the Nifty, which is the top gainer apart from TCS. Okay, it's BPCL, 1.7% higher, 405. Remember, a drop in crude oil prices is extremely positive for OMCs. Asian Paints, 1.4% higher, 1375. This is again a crude oil play because 60% of Asian Paints raw materials are priced in sync with crude. Okay, Coal India, 0.5% higher, 347. JSW Steel, 0.5% higher, 773. The Nifty is now gaining substantial ground. Remember, Brijesh had suggested that he would like to enter at the level at which the Nifty opens, which was 19,680. Okay. F&O very, very quickly, and then we'll go to Brijesh. It's India Bulls Housing Finance, 2.25% higher, 191. This is the top gainer. Again, HPCL, 3% higher, 330. Which are the most active counters in F&O? Bajaj Finance, Okay, 2.5% lower. Again, this is the RBI action impacting sentiment. 71.94. HDFC Bank. Banks are taking it in a chin given the fact that RBI has tweaked consumer weights on loans. SBI is the top loser, 2.6% lower, 569. A very quick look at NSE 500 and then we'll shift focus to Brigesh. Brigade Enterprises. News coming in, they will develop additional 20 lakh square feet of residential space in Bangalore. Top gainer 6% higher, 755. Narayan Hirdalya 2.7% higher, 1176. This is how the market is moving. The Nifty regaining all lost ground, now down just 25 at 1974. One very quick comment from you, Brijesh. Anything that you'd like to do on the Nifty?
Nifty definitely, sir, I would take a long position. I don't think I'll go long with days low as a stop loss, and I will be hoping that I have pretty confident that 19,800 level should be taken out. So it's a buy trade on the future as well, and I would like to ride the 19,700 call option. Stock specific, sir, there is one. Indigo is something which is catching my eyes. I think Indigo is at the verge of giving a falling trend line breakout. I think this can be a one stock which can do very good during the entire day. It's a positive trade, Indigo.
Okay, Indigo is what you are looking at. Perfect. And it's the Tata Group which is ahead of the Tata Technologies IPO, coming out in full strength to support the newest baby which will begin listing somewhere in the end of November. So Tata Motors days high 685, Trent buzzing it away 2575, Tata Motors DVR 465.60. Then we have from the Tata stable, we'll just update some more prices. Let's look at Tata Motors for the moment. 685.70. This is also the top gainer within the auto F&O space. Let's get Mr. Lokpriya into the conversation. Sir, the entire brokerage pack, Bombay Stock Exchange, CDSL, Angel One, Motilal Oswal Securities, and a lot many other counters are just, in an amazing uptrend. Does that worry you that traders are just keeping charts technically overstretched, or would you have a sensible reason to defend this stupendous price rise, especially in BSE and CDSL?
Yeah, if you look at the brokerage space, what has happened in the last couple of years. In fact, COVID was the positive catalyst for these companies, where they started opening online brokerage accounts. And today, the reach of all the companies is expanding very fast. They're opening all these agency offices, which are supported by a digital platform. This has allowed the volumes to grow for companies like Angel One, and they've managed to expand really, really well. And this is also a higher margin business for the brokerages as a result. And with the markets doing well, and in general, Indian economy expanding, etc., there are more number of first-time users who are coming into the stock market and getting in through the brokerages. So from that perspective, the longer-term trend is clearly good because the market liquidity breadth improves. In terms of individual pockets, there can be a little bit of excesses, but that's par for the course in any market.
Fair point. And let's look at within the F&O space for Brijesh, some stocks that are doing extremely, extremely well. HPCL and BPCL, Brijesh, no point talking about the recent crude oil at the lowest since July. What are the technical charts telling you? Is there still momentum left on the long side?
Sir, I think the extension of the move is there. Fresh entry cannot be made. We need to see some good amount of correction, but which is not possible at current price. But somebody is having a position, I think, should hold a position. This momentum is likely to continue because I think the sector is going to move. The entire pack, IOC, HPCL, BPCL, this entire segment is going to move. So I think we should ride the momentum, and I think another 5-6% kind of upside can be seen in this particular stocks.
Right. Let me point out the Nifty for everyone's benefit. And now it is going to come into green territory, just 6.5, just 6 points lower at 19,757. The call that we were interested was in the 19,700 call. Still, it is down 28 rupees at 140. Just let me check the price. Just give me a moment. The price on the 23rd November 19700 call I get is 142. Remember, the low of this one was 88, so probably the trade has been taken away, but this is something that you can look at. Yesterday's high was 242 rupees, so it's still 100 bucks lower than what has been its most recent high. Taking it away is Zomato, day's high 124.60. Of course, Polycab, this is a stock that both Mr. Lokpriya and Brijesh have alluded to. Mr. Lokpriya on the back of falling crude oil prices, and technically Brijesh finds it really well. 52.95. Block deals happening here worth 1 crore immediately. Brijesh, would you want to touch upon Polycab immediately? 52.95 for you.
Yes, sir. I think it has taken yesterday's high, so definitely this is a very good trade setup. I would like to take a call at the current price. I will go with the pivotal points. So I think the next level to watch is 53.30 and 53.97. So I think R1, R2 will be tested during today or maybe by tomorrow. So bias is positive. I would like to take a buy call at the current price.
Right, and two more stocks coming your way, Asian Paints and Berger Paints. Again, the crude oil impact, 60% of raw materials sourced by these two paint companies is linked to crude oil. A very quick view on Asian Paints from you, Brijesh.
33.20 is the highest side resistance. I think this momentum will trade towards 33.20. That is the trading bet. So another 120 points from the current levels. I think somebody wants to take a position, the cash should take the position. In FNO, I think slight correction. Whenever it declines below 3200, somewhere close to 3190, that's a good bet for the FNO point of view. But cash trade, who needs to, who can hold the delivery call, can, I think, make an entry at the current price also.
Fair point. Mr. Lokpriya, some of the earnings again for the second quarter in a row for companies such as Trent have been fabulous, and the stock has really lived up to the expectations of probably the most aggressive of traders as well. In your opinion, which are the 2 or 3 counters that have re-rated themselves for fund managers such as you? Any dip there, you would be a willing buyer or even buy the momentum?
You know, one of the clear trends that we are seeing in case of consumption is this, what I call is a durable consumption. Companies like Titan, where, you know, you buy and the item holds value like jewelry. And so therefore, those kind of companies are doing really well. Second, on the other hand, is companies who specifically got their act together. In the case of Trent, phenomenal job. You know, other retail companies have not managed to do so. So we can't take a sector call, but Trent is looking also very strong fundamentally, because in terms of their business momentum is exceedingly strong.
Okay, so Trent and Titan, surprisingly, actually no surprises there, both from the Tata stable, and awesome balance sheets, fabulous numbers, and a great parentage getting substantially rewarded, even if you look at the technical charts. And of course, long-term shareholders in both these companies have made supernormal return when it comes to 3, 5, 7. And if you have been holding them for 10 years, well, you are amongst the very few lucky folks that are within the markets. Coming back to you, Brijesh, fresh record high on Bajaj Auto. What is this chart telling you when it comes to prices? 56 in front of me. Minor block deals happening here.
So the trend for the Bajaj Auto looks quite strong. The weekly and monthly time frame is again suggesting a bullish momentum. And I think day before yesterday, the Bajaj Auto has seen a range breakout. And this talks of 5,800 on the immediate basis. So I think this momentum should rally. Another 150 points kind of a move should be seen in Bajaj Auto. I think it's a positive when there is no negative bias. The trend is positive, higher top bottom structure. So I think I would bet towards the 58, 58, 50 on the higher side.
Fair point, and I can't take my eyes away, Brajesh, from Polycab. Wonderful pick that you shared with us at the right time. We also took a view once the stock had opened substantially higher, and it's just taking it away. The price that you see is 5303. Giving it company, of course, is Bombay Stock Exchange. I do not even wish to take a technical view on this one, lest some poor soul get trapped at a phenomenal price. But 2414, fresh record high, absolutely no stopping this stock. And if you were with us a couple of minutes ago at 916, the stock that was picked was Indigo. Falling crude oil prices, extremely beneficial for this airline. 2621 on the charts, and Brijesh had already given a buy call. Ladies and gentlemen, the Nifty is likely to be in the green fairly shortly, just 5 points lower now at 19,750. What else is taking it away? Asian Paints, Berger Paints, BSE, Indigo, and of course Polycab. These are the stocks that are up and running. Mr. Lokpriya, mid-cap IT refuses to let go of sentiment, and even the most aggressive bulls remain very, very bullish on mid-cap IT stocks. Among the space which is extremely overheated, what would be the one or two stocks where you would still be positive, at least given the business sentiment?
Midcap IT has clearly benefited from the simple fact that they're smaller in size, therefore they focus on only fewer pockets, and and therefore that has turned out to be an advantage in terms of sidestepping the US weakness. So companies even at this level, Persistent has had a fabulous run, but still I think the business momentum looks very strong. So that's another thing. And now, of course, now the new IPO which is going to come out of from the Tata stable, I think that company, Tata Technologies, will also do very well.
Okay, so Tata Technologies is something to look forward to, and of course we'll be doing a deep dive into this forthcoming IPO from the Tata stable. Remember, the previous IPO that came from the Tata Group was in August of 2004. That was 16 plus 3, 19 years ago, and that company was TCS. So similar, how should I say, profile on Tata Technologies as well. Let's see how it fares. And between August 2004 to November of 2023, TCS has been one of the 2 or 3 top wealth creators on Dalal Street. So you'd better liquidate some fixed deposits to put in money into Tata Technologies. I very, very rarely say that, but this is something to look forward to. Meanwhile, let's look at the high beta space. The Nifty for the moment seems to be stuck 6 points lower. Okay, we've discussed BSC. Zomato 1.8% higher, 124. Angel One, no let up in this stock, 1.3% higher, 3010. CDSL 1.3% higher, 1808. Policy Bazaar 1.2% higher, 793. These are all super high beta stocks. Let's look at stocks and news which are doing phenomenally well, and I have a lot of overlap here which we've discussed. Praj Industries 2.7% higher, 580. Marksons 1.7% higher, 143.20. Let's look at the volume busters at this point of time within the NSE 500 stable. That will give us an indication what people are thinking. There's been a block deal on logistics chain delivery, 403 rupees, down 2.6%, and about 1.97 crore shares are traded. Let's look at the stocks that are green and are showing an uptick. Okay, PCBL. This is erstwhile Phillips Carbon Black. Again, the crude oil linkage. 242 fresh record high, 9% higher. We'll just show you the chart. We won't take a technical view. This is overstretched clearly. IRB is 37.50, 5% higher. Already one-time volume happening. Brigade Enterprises 4.4% higher. 746, about 50% of volume has been traded. Brijesh, anything that catches your fancy now?
Yes, there are two stocks I think which is going to outperform. One is the HDFC Life, so which is about to give a range breakout. 645 is the current price. It's a F4 trade. I think 660, 665 should be on the cards. And secondly, ICICI Pru. I think this is going to be a very good, very big reversal. In the short term, maybe not in this expiry, but I have a very strong feeling that we should be heading 600 plus on the ICICI Pru. So this both can be trading as well as positional bet at the current level.
Okay, this is the time to thank Mr. Lokpriya. Chakri, thank you so much for spending your time with us. Any parting comments on the way the markets have opened? Your view on India versus Australia, which are the 2 or 3 top players that you're looking at? And I'll be there. I'm hoping I'll meet you at Ahmedabad.
Yes, I think, best of luck to all of us, and India brings home the cup tomorrow. And I think all the Team India are doing well. Indian stock market, I think, should follow suit. And thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Wonderful. We look forward to your August company fairly soon. But enjoy the game, enjoy the weekend, and I'm sure your portfolio is buzzing with winners. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's get back to Brijesh. Brijesh भाई, एक व्यू दे दीजिए बॉम्बे स्टॉक एक्सचेंज पे. क्या करें, बढ़ता ही जा रहा है, इसका पेट्रोल नहीं खत्म हो रहा.
So from technical, it will be very difficult for me to comment because for me, what I can say is that we will ride the momentum, because as long as the previous day or maybe the weekly low doesn't get break, one should ride it. It will be too much to say how much it can go, but then the momentum is positive. So every day we should take a new trade, and the previous day low should be the stop loss, and we should ride the momentum.
Okay, again, ladies and gentlemen, you have to be very, very careful with Bombay Stock Exchange. It's best not to come near fire, but one reason. If you have the stock in your portfolio, don't sell. It's very, very difficult to advise entry at this point of time in a stock that has appreciated 4x over the last 6 months, and there are no signs of profit booking, but you have to be very careful. If you are lucky enough to have it in your portfolio, just remain invested, do nothing at all. What else is sticking? Brijesh, one laggard stock, Hero Motors, is now showing signs of life. I think it was the top gainer in yesterday's Nifty, and yes, we have a massive breakout. This is the highest since you've seen prices from February 2021, so 2 years and 8 months. It's almost a 36-month high. It's almost a 32-month high here. What are the charts Brijesh telling you?
If I look at the weekly time frame, during the October 28th, there was this chart has formed a negative divergence, and now from the technical point of view, that negative divergence is getting diverted. So this is one of the extreme positive scenario whenever this kind of negative divergence get neglected. So I think 3600 plus, this is extremely positive. I think this momentum will last for next couple of weeks. So I think one should take a buy. Day before yesterday was the entry point, but then having said that, we have missed it. Anytime when it comes close to 3300, I would definitely take a buy call for another 300 points move on the higher side. This looks extremely positive on charts.
Fair point. Let's look at an in-depth. Let's take an in-depth view on what's happening in the F&O space. We are at 937. Nifty is doing nothing. Still waiting for those 8 odd points to be taken away by the bulls. Within the advanced decline space, okay, extreme positivity. 130 stock futures are in the green versus just 56 that are in the red. Let's just do a nice deep dive. Okay. SBI is the top traded counter. That's the pain that is getting reflected from the changes that the RBI has made on consumer weights on loans. It essentially means, in simple English, that if you give an unsecured loan, you have to create more safety within your balance sheet. The good point is that banks like, in fact, all good PSU banks and all private sector banks are extremely well capitalized at this point of time. So there is no issue. It's just a sentimental dip that has come in on stocks like SBI. At the moment, 572. It's the top loser within the bank Nifty space, 2.5% lower. Brijesh, do you see more weakness in SBI? Where would you put in a buy given the weakness that we are seeing?
So we're talking about SBI. So I think
yes, sir. State Bank of India.
Yeah, very true, sir. So I think I'm not that weak on the counter. I think it has come back to the 200-day moving average level. I strongly believe this is going to be a buying opportunity because the levels of 560 is a very strong base for the SBI, and this should be a buying opportunity. With a very small stop loss of 10 points, I think should be talking of 600 plus again. So I think we should take a buy trade in the current price. 560 would be the stop loss for 600 plus target on the SBI. So maybe we can also look at the 570 call option trade. If the liquidity and if the time permits, then I think we should take that bet also.
Okay, let's look at the 570 call on State Bank of India. Let me just get this up and running. So 570 call, which is expiring on 30th of November, at the moment is trading at 9 rupees 15 paisa. Obviously, it's down a bit, down 30 paisa or so. It had shut shop at 17 rupees yesterday. What I'm interested in seeing is the most recent high this call has made. Okay, I have within this expiry, which started on 26th of October. Okay, 17 rupees is the 20 rupees is the all-time high within this expiry for the call that we have just talked about. And in the morning, this call had dipped to 5 rupees 45. Now at somewhere like 9 rupees 19. This is something that you see those traders who take active risk on the dip can look at, according to Brijesh. And this is 570 call is what we are talking about, and that's trading at 9.2, down 50%. So this is something that you can look at. Brijesh is quite enthusiastic about it on the long side. Stocks that are doing well, 940. Joining the party of Asian Paints and Berger is, of course, their hand-in-hand company, which is Pidilite. The maker of Fevicol, 2517, decent block deals happening. Taking it away is, of course, Asian Paints. Two very big block deals of 3 crores and 2.4 crores in front of my screen. Very strong breakouts happening on Berger Paints as well. It's the FMCG part that is clicking in trade today. Hindustan Unilever, 2508, Titan 3358. We also have a strong move coming in. Of course, we've discussed paint companies. Hindustan Unilever. Let's look at the chart, Brijesh. Coming to you, 2520. This is a stock that has been a disappointment for quite a while. 2522 amongst the rare stocks below 200 DMA. within the Nifty. Your view here, Brijesh, what would you do?
Sir, as you said, it is underperforming. The stock is below the 200-day moving average. The level for the 200-day moving is 2560. So I think I'll play the momentum till 2560. I won't take any positional bet right now. Maybe some confirmation is needed, but then trading bet definitely for from this level another 30 points move. So we play for that another 30 points move, but then directionally we still take a wait and watch view.
Okay, fine. The other two stocks which rarely make the cut is from the Adani stable. ACC days high 1871, maybe a swing trade is in the making, but it's not accompanied by any sharp rise in volume. Ditto Ambuja Cements. We saw, remember, Ultratech hitting a record high 2 days ago. Ambuja Cement again, has been a high beta counter, 425.95. Brijesh, would you share a view on Ambuja Cement?
Uh, Sir, yeah, I think there is a momentum play. 434 is my technical level. So I think that much trade setup is there, which is another 10 points move from the current point. I think I would again like to take the trading bet for 10 points move, but not the positional bet. Somebody is having a position, so should wait till 434, 435 mark. With today's low as a stop loss, because this is not the uptrend stock. So every time when it moves higher, we should raise the stop loss to previous day low, and with that strategy, one should hold it call.
Okay, that's the view that is coming in on Hindustan Unilever. Shortly, we'll be joined by Mr. Kathuria. He's the president of Indian operations at JK Tyre and Industries. A chart check before he joins in on JK Tyre. To you, Brijesh, stock already at a record high after a stunning set of numbers. What are the charts telling you?
So can you just tell me the name?
JK Tyre and Industries,
Yeah, yeah.
346.
So there is slightly disappointment. Maybe the momentum is missing, but then the stock has seen a gap up trade on the 2nd of November. So I think as long as the gap doesn't get the stock is holding above the value of the gap, it is in a positive territory. The momentum should continue. I think we can take a buy trade at the current level. The stop loss would be 330 mark. With that 20-point risk, I think we can bet for 380, 390 on the higher side. It looks positive on charts. So I think this sideways consolidation can be viewed as a buying opportunity.
Right. And this is the perfect time to welcome Mr. Anuj Kathuria. He's the president at JK Tyres and Industries. Mr. Kathuria, good morning. Very warm welcome to you on Market Today at Business Today Television. And festivities are at peak as far as JK Tyres and Industries is concerned. Fabulous set of numbers that the company came up with. Just let me go through these numbers for the benefit of our audience, Mr. Kathuria, and then I'll come to you with my first question. Second quarter profit surged 3.7x to 242 crore rupees. Revenue up 3.8% for the second quarter at 3,897. EBITDA surged nearly 100% to 589 crores, and the company has announced increasing manufacturing capacity by 20%, which will be on stream in October 2025. Current manufacturing capacity is 155 lakh tires per annum. Mr. Kathuria, a wonderful time to be the head of operations at JK Tyres and Industries. How do the coming 2 or 3 quarters look to you, sir?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on the show. And also thank you for the Q2 numbers are really good. We expect that going forward, the industry outlook is quite good. it's robust, both on the commercial vehicle side as well as on the passenger car side. So we expect that it will the demand both in the replacement market as well as in the from the OEMs should continue. As we all know that quarter 4 is a very robust quarter for the OEMs, and we are looking forward to it. So this time it's not going to be any different. That's our understanding. The push from the government on the infrastructure side continues to be there, and therefore we expect that the commercial vehicle, both the OEM side, especially on the construction side, and also in the replacement market, because what we have understood is that the normal vehicle, the per month average running of the vehicles is on the increase, and quarter on quarter we are seeing that better utilization is happening. Freight availability, which is generally tracked in billion ton kilometers, that is also a positive. In fact, when we interact with some of the OEMs, we are given to understand that this year, FY24, is going to be a new peak for the industry in terms of the movement of freight in billion ton kilometers. So all these indicators are quite positive. On the pass car side, again, the OEMs, their supply side constraints are behind them, and therefore the production is in full stream. Demand is also good. The demand is coming more from the SUV segment, which we all understand, and that's good for us. What it means for us is that the higher rim sizes, that is the 16-inch and above, those tires will be in great demand. That actually is very well in sync with our strategy of premiumization. We have been working on this for quite some time, and in quarter 2 we saw the results. But going forward, I feel that there is more headroom. Even the capacities that are coming into play, which we had announced last year, now they are getting commissioned, and all of them have the capability to kind of produce those premium tires. And therefore, I think so everything is falling in place at the same time, and that's a positive outlook for us.
Absolutely. Mr. Kanthuria, we interact with a lot of companies that come up with earnings, and yes, especially in the auto space, what you tell us has been also explained in great detail by two-wheelers, four-wheelers, and of course commercial makers of vehicle makers of commercial in nature, which is trucks. This is a Goldilocks moment as far as the auto ancillaries are concerned. Sharp increase in stock prices. Even your stock is up 90% year to date, and still appears to be undervalued given the parameters that we normally watch. Among them, revenue is far ahead of market capitalization, so a lot of catch up has to be done. When you look at how crude oil prices are concerned, and the fact that a lot of your raw material is linked to crude, how do you see margins over the next 2 or 3 quarters?
Yeah, so there were certain discussions around the crude oil, the price. There is a little bit of volatility given the geopolitical situation. But recently we have seen that there has been a drop in the crude oil prices. But again, there is a yo-yo. But more importantly, if they are range bound, because everything does not translate directly. Crude oil prices going up for a shorter period does not naturally translate into the price hikes that on the commodities that we buy. So as long as they remain range bound, and there is a certain range, it is if it continues to be at this level, I think the pressure on the input material side should not be that high. Yes, we have seen a little bit of pressure in the recent times, but I think that is part and parcel of the industry, and it's not going to have a major implication as such, at least as of now, unless there is a major change in the crude oil prices, which we'll have to wait and watch, but not expected in the recent few weeks at least.
Fair point. We've seen how should I say, a modest to mediocre increase in EBIT margins as far as the trailing 12 months are concerned. 9.02% for you, sir, compared with 6.08. I take my words back. It's a 50% increase in EBIT margin. The net margin, of course, is 4% in the trailing 12 months for JK Tyres, compared with 1.8% in the year that ended in March 2023. These are, of course, fantastic numbers, Mr. Kathuria. Do we see a further improvement from these levels on EBIT as well as NPM?
The efforts are always there to further improve the margins. How does it play out is something which we'll have to see. But our efforts, whether it is on the premiumization, which I spoke about, not only on the pass car side, but also on the truck and bus radial tires, we have been introducing a lot of power SKUs, which the customers are very happy. They are getting the response, good performance, and therefore the the premiumization, the premium that we can command on these SKUs is getting established. So that is good news. Also on the cost side, we continuously try to work on efficiencies. We are trying to see how we can better utilize our capacities. In fact, capacity utilization is at a very good level as of now, as we speak. And we are trying to see how it can be taken to the next level. The new capacities that are being commissioned, we would like to kind of get them utilized also to that same level on an almost on an immediate basis. So these efforts which are there, and these when coupled with the robust industry outlook, I think so this would be the outlook overall should be robust. And as far as margins are concerned, we have reached a level of 15.3% on a consolidated basis. And definitely our efforts would be to either take it forward or sustain the same levels going forward.
Okay. Mr. Kathuria, we are always made to wait for 3-4 months as far as buying a new vehicle is concerned, and forget discounts. OEMs are charging through the nose when it comes to fresh demand. Tell us, do you also enjoy the pass-through of higher prices from OEMs, or are they still squeezing your profit margins while making theirs on the top side?
Just let me clarify. Actually, as I mentioned, as far as my understanding goes, the OEMs are that phase where they were having supply side constraints is behind them. They are able to produce as per the capacities, and the dealer stocks, both pre-festive season and even post-festive season, the dealer stocks are good. So I'm not very sure whether there is any challenge on availability. The waiting periods are not there. Maybe on a few specific models, it may still be there. But in general, I think so the availability is much better. And as far as pricing is concerned, with the OEMs, we have on the passenger car side, it is an index-based pricing. So I think so we work on a longer term arrangement with them. So the volatility in the input material for us, to a large extent, when it comes to the passenger car side, in the OEM, that is addressed.
Okay. As far as SUVs are concerned, let me just add my feedback. There's at least a 1 year waiting for the top passenger SUV in India, but be that as it may, we'll discuss that in a different format. Mr. Kathuria, let's look at now expansion. Fresh capacities coming in October 2025, which is up 20% for JK Tyres. What all segments are you adding overall, and how are you funding this fresh capacity expansion?
So, the capacity expansion, let me just clarify that we had already announced certain projects last year, which was around 1100 crores. Quite a bit of that has already got commissioned, and the remaining part would be commissioned by the end of this financial year or in the first quarter of the next financial year. The recent announcement that has happened of around 1,025 crores, this is over and above this, the expansion that is going on. Yes, this would be adding the capacity as we have announced. So this is being worked upon. The granular details will be shared in due course. But as of now, definitely one of the areas that would take up quite a bit of the total amount would be in the passenger car radial. But more specific details we would be able to share with you in a few weeks' time. We are working on it. As far as funding of this, yeah, it will be a combination of debt, equity, as well as internal accruals. And we are very mindful of our, what is our position on the debt side. And we have been continuously working to bring it down. We had announced a reduction plan, and happy to inform that the reduction plans are on track. We have been able to reduce our overall debt quarter on quarter, despite the top line going up. So that is again a positive note for us. So this will again be a combination. Generally, we would like to keep it to the 1:1 level.
Okay. Mr. Kathuria, your answer led me to my next, and the only niggling question that I have is that the total debt is 4,783 crores. While you see a lot of enthusiasm coming in on the demand side, and of course capacity expansion is in place, India is in a expansionary capex cycle, isn't this debt a bit too high on a comparative basis across your peers as well? And what are the steps that you are taking to reduce it? Would you give us a number, say 1 year down the line, what debt would look like?
So, just to kind of sharpen your understanding, the debt as of now stands at around 4,000 odd crores. We have been able to reduce around 450 crores in this financial year. This was already announced, and further reductions are on the anvil. So we had said that in the next 2 years, we should be able to reduce 25% of the long-term debts that we have further. So that is on track, and we would be working on those reductions. So I think so. This is going as per what we have already shared.
Okay. So 4,000 odd crores, the number that I have is 4,600. We'll have a 25% shaving of this number, say 1 year down the line. Is that a good estimate, Mr. Kathuria?
Yeah, in a couple of years, definitely, on the long-term borrowings.
Okay, perfect. And thank you so much, Mr. Kathuria, for the lovely views that you shared. Best wishes to you, to the entire management of JK Tyres and the customers of JK Tyres from our side on this festive demand that is bringing cheer to the stock price, bringing cheer to the profit as well as top line. Sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll wrap market today for you. The Nifty is back in the green. The value now is 19,800, 31 points higher as far as the index is concerned. The Nifty Bank remains in pain, 321 points lower at 43,841 on the steps that the RBI has taken to make unsecured loans as a percentage of the overall balance sheet of lenders a bit more safer by increasing weights. Top news always happens on Business Today television. Stay around and keep abreast with all the financial developments. Thank you from my side as well as the PCR side for sparing your time and joining us. Have a nice day.